First on BBC Two, Sister Wendy continues her erudite browse through the art treasures of Europe. Tonight, the grand tour takes her to Paris.
For over 20 years, I've led a life of solitude and prayer. Now, for the first time in my life, I'm going to Europe. I'm going on a grand tour in search of some of the finest art treasures in the world. Paris is the city of lovers, and I wondered how I'd fit into things here, but there was no need to worry. Even a nun comes to life in Paris. It's a city of monuments and memory, brimming with an awareness of the beautiful. Here, the business of art is taken seriously. After all, the avant-garde is a French phrase. I'm beginning my tour at one of the world's most extravagant railway stations, or rather, a former railway station. It's now the Musée d'Orsay, a fitting home for French masterpieces of the 19th century. There's a whole gallery here devoted to one of my favorite artists, Paul Cezanne. Much of his work is an observation of the everyday world around him. He was a difficult and neurotic man, but a genius, who was unrecognized for most of his life. He was always harking back to romantic memories of his youth, reliving those few moments of happiness. He was a very prudish man, very frightened of the flesh, and he would never have dreamt of asking any models to take off their clothes and stand in the woods for him. So how did he paint this? Well, he painted it in two ways. He painted it from photographs of bathers, and he painted it perhaps from his memories. And he painted this obsessively all his life. This is one of the big things for him. And I think why this one is so exciting and so successful is because he blocks us out of the picture. You see these two men in the middle, they're shutting us out, and this one has this towel that shuts us out still more. We can't get into those bathers, and of course Cezanne couldn't get in either. This was youth, it was past, he couldn't get back. And he's buried the bathers in nature, almost like a kind of lozenge, shut in on either side. And notice how the clouds seem to follow the contours of the bathers. They go up and down according to the heads. Behind the glorious color and the radiance and the freedom is a core of anxiety, what Cezanne knew he couldn't have, that youthful freedom of the only time he'd been completely happy, when, as a boy, he went bathing with his friends. Paris has always welcomed the modern, especially modern art. So I'm delighted to have the chance to go to the Pompidou and see an exhibition celebrating the work of the great Henri Matisse. Matisse was an intensely private man. And one of the great interests of this conversation is that it's taking place between Matisse in his pajamas and Madame Matisse in her dressing gown. And as you can see, it's a picture of marital alienation. What he's clearly showing is the dominance of the husband. The woman is not only low down, but she's imprisoned in that chair. She's shut in as if she was in a kind of black bag, actually. Matisse originally was more generous with her skirt. He's steadily diminished her and shut her up. And her eyes are just blots of darkness. She was a very strong, supportive wife, Adele, and she really didn't get her fair dues from Matisse. Poor put-upon Madame Matisse actually was a very tough lady and a great heroine of the French resistance. She's clearly trying to confront him. It's an aggressive, tense pose, but one can't have feeling it's not going to get her anywhere. He, you see, is a great, long streak of power. And look at that great thick neck that keeps the same straight line all the way, with the pajama stripes repeating it. And though his hand is in his pocket, it's a tense hand. You feel he doesn't need to make actions. His whole body is speaking for him. He's the judge, she's the culprit. And then a last very witty touch. The railings. The railings spell out N-O-N, non. And which one is saying no to which we really can decide for ourselves. But it's a marital no. They are not getting on. And the marriage did, in fact, end in an amicable divorce. They lived apart for most of their life. And we have to take a step back and delight in the pure, bright colors, the great radiant forms, to, as it were, set against this indication that a conversation between husband and wife may turn out to be each saying to one another, no.